Alright, well, I hope this is working out well. I'm gonna say, oh, my chat box is working. Oh, hey, I guess I gotta sign in. Sorry, open. I have to sign in on YouTube. Sorry, guys. Okay, well, I guess there it is. I guess I can't. Why I don't know why I can't chat directly inside Streamlabs, which kind of stinks. You can do it on Twitch. Alright, so here's the chat. Hi. Alright, so that'll be a chat window. I'll see it on my monitor here. I've got like 3 different monitors because I've got some notes up on one. I've got number 2 that shows my streaming, and I've got number 3, which is mirroring. Looks like there's about a 5-second delay from the time that I hit hi, as you can see, till it shows up in the chat on Streamlabs. So if you ask me something and there's a little bit of delay, that's one reason. Okay, so here's kind of something that's been on my mind lately. I know that there's tons of free accounts out there where you can literally just sign up and do nothing and get free stocks, free crypto, free money. They're just using it to attract you. There's no trick or scam here. I'm going to say a little bit about that. Companies have a certain cost to acquire a customer. So they have to do advertising, and then they have to pay all the support to do that advertising. Making the advertising costs thousands of dollars. So what a lot of companies will do is they'll just give referrals. They're like, hey, if you get somebody to sign up, we'll give you $3, $5, $10, and it varies. Or one of the good ones lately, unfortunately it's over now, but I did it and my wife did it. It was Fidelity. Fidelity was if you put $50 in, you get 100. So you basically tripled your money or doubled your money, or however you want to think of that math. And that's a no-brainer. So I did it, referred the wife, she did it. Unfortunately, I didn't get my own son and daughter to do it, but that's another story. They're kind of knuckleheads sometimes. Just a little bit why I manage their finances for them. And if you're young, I want to say something to you later in this podcast about what I would do and what I did for my kids as they're coming up and they got birthday money. So if you're a kid, child, teenager, under 18, there's going to be something for you specifically here, and don't think you're left out. If you're under 18, if you want a brokerage account, you can get one. You can have your parents sign up and they become the custodial of it. And not every brokerage offers that. I had ETrade. More on that later. Stay tuned, because we're going to talk about stuff. So this is really for everybody, even if I know there's not any 5-year-olds watching this, but 5-year-olds get birthday money, so we're going to talk about that later. Here's one I pulled up. That's Chime. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there. That is a pretty good deal. I'm going to put that in the chat window, that referral link. So yeah, I get something. And I'm going to say this right up front. I'm not an investment professional, but I've been trading stocks and options for a long time, and anything probably that I tell you I would do, I have done. So there's not any big secrets here. There's not any difficult things. It just takes a little time. So instead of being on TikTok or doing something not profitable to your time, not profitable to your life, instead of doing that, take 5 or 10 minutes here or there and do some of these offers. Because I've got stuff like this where it's just going to be cash. I've got stuff where they, give you signups for, brokerages, and you get free stocks. Or if you put in a certain amount, they give you free stocks. Some, just varies. And then, or referral link for crypto. I'll just go ahead and drop that in there too. Let's see. Mouse over there. I would mouse over like 2 monitors here. Referral links for crypto. So what this is, that's not it. Let me see. It's Coinbase. And there's no charge to open this. Why is it so hard, Rob? Coinbase. There we go. I'm going to drop both of these links in here, all three of these links into the chat, because I'm honestly not sure which is which. The important thing is really honestly that you get this. So the way this works, okay, I have to delete 2 characters because evidently I can only paste 200. Oh, come on. Evidently I can only paste 250 characters into my chat, into my own chat. Very annoying. So let me do the first 2 and then I'll do the third. So the way these work is you go on there and they just have lessons every now and then, and these lessons usually pay you like $1 in crypto for literally like a minute's work. You're making like $1 a minute. And a lot of the quizzes you don't even have to listen to like the whole little tiny short 45-second lesson. You can just immediately take the quiz and get your free crypto. And once you have that, you can either just sell it outright for the cash and transfer that in so you can buy stocks with it, or you can put it in a different type of crypto. Like if you said, okay, I think it's going to be Bitcoin or Ethereum. Those are like the 2 big cryptos. I'm going to take, I don't know, 25% of my cash or 25% of my crypto and convert it to Bitcoin or Ethereum 2. Those would probably be the 3 I would kind of just maybe put a little money in, and that's what I've done. I've just put a little money into those and just let that ride and see where it goes. And I'm going to take the other 75% out straight up cash. Then I'm going to buy a stock with it that pays me dividends. So you can kind of bootstrap yourself up, you know, just little bits at a time, you know, take advantage of all these little different opportunities. So let me get back over to my notes, get back on track here. I'm going to go ahead and drop some of these at the end of the stream. I'm going to drop all the referrals in there because I'm going to have to go through and paste them, evidently 250 characters at a time. So we get right into the next thing, which is kids and parents. So one thing I did for my kids, let me get back to the Chrome browser there. When they would get money for birthdays, you know, let's say grandma sends up $20, $45, I would maybe give them, you know, 60% of that, and the other 40% or whatever I would put into a brokerage, into ETrade, which I'll drop ETrade in there. Some of the smaller brokerages, like I think especially like Robinhood, don't let you have a custodial account. What a custodial account is, you sign it up and it's your kid's account, but the parent has to be the custodian of it until you're 18. And then once you're 18, you can transfer all your stuff into your own brokerage account, which is what I've done recently with my kids. As they got older, they have their own brokerage account. Now I kind of manage mine for my son and daughter, so to speak. Let's see, ETrade actually does give referrals too. If you sign up, you don't have to have a ton of money to do it, but if you do have $10,000, I believe that was the amount. I actually just loaned my son that amount of money, and then I took it back from him because they were doing $50, and then I got an Amazon gift card for $50. So between the two of us, we got $100. Let me find this referral link for ETrade. You do not have to have $10,000. I don't know if there's a minimum, to be honest with you, for ETrade. Oh, here you go. And I recently transferred an IRA in there, so I got another, I think they gave me $300. That was from work that I had. There it is in the chat. I don't remember the amount that I had to do, but I had a work situation where I had to transfer that in there. But I'd saved that amount up over 12 or 13 years or something like that, just by doing my work 401k. So a little bit on that. If you've got some sort of work 401k or Roth or whatever where they're matching, especially if it's like a 1-to-1 match, like if you put in $10, your company says, hey, we'll put in $10. Well, any sort of matching really is probably worth taking a look at, because it's just free money. You know, whatever you could afford to do, you know, $1 a week, something, because they're going to give you a partial match on that. You know, and you think, oh, $1 doesn't mean anything. It's like, well, yeah, but if you did it $1 a week, you know, year in, year out, by the time you retire, you could have a nice little bit of money saved up. You do the math. It's $52 a year, 20 years. I mean, you should have a couple $1,000s probably, you know, something sitting there for when you get ready to retire. That could be a nice little nest egg or emergency fund or when you retire or whatever. And you're not going to miss $1 a week. Stop going to Starbucks. Take one less coffee at Starbucks. Put that $6 in. Now you're up to $300 and something a year if you're buying one Starbucks a week. Get yourself some instant coffee. I never buy Starbucks. If I were going to buy Starbucks, I'd get a gift card, I'd get a discount. That's another thing. Anything that I mention or say, just tag that in the comments. You know, tag the time that I said it, and I will respond to that comment, you know, specifically. But I don't want to get too far off any one path here. Always be saving. Instead of ABC, always be closing. Always be closing. This is always be saving. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit. Okay, so we've kind of talked a little bit about establishing all these accounts. And once again, I'll put those referrals in at the end, establishing all these little accounts. Now, the next step is taking all these little accounts or cash amounts or whatever that you get and consolidating them to a brokerage. Now this is pretty critical if you want to have a savings account but you want to have the money working the best for you, because a savings account right now is paying crap. I mean, you could have $2,000 in there and they're not paying you squat. Almost any dividend fund right now is going to pay you, I mean, stocks are paying 3, 4, 5%, you know, and stock values change, fair enough, but you could also get, you know, what's called an ETF, an exchange traded fund, and what they do is they take 100 stocks and then they collect all the dividends on it, and then they split that up based on the number of shares that you have, and you get that. So it's a pretty low risk because they spread out the risk over, you know, 100 companies, 100 bond issues or whatever. They spread out the risk even over different types. I mean, they might own whatever, like Altria, which is basically vapes and stuff, pays a pretty good amount of money. Tobacco companies pay a pretty good amount of money. I mean, I don't personally smoke. I don't think people should. If those companies went out of business day after tomorrow, I'd be fine with that. I'd be happy that people weren't smoking and getting cancer and stuff. But I think I told my wife, I was like, well, if people are going to do it, you know, I don't think they should, but I can't stop them from doing it, so I might as well make the dividend and put that to something good. You could donate it to dog rescues or whatever. So that's something that you could kind of aim for, getting to a $2,000 amount. And once you hit $2,000 in your brokerage, that's the amount where you can start borrowing money against the value of your brokerage account. And then the whole time it's in there, you've got it maybe in some sort of dividend stock or something. I'm going to put that in the chat window. This is not financial advice, but very, very popular is QILD. Generally pays 10 to 12% yield. They sell options for you is what they do, and that's an entirely different video about how QILD works. But they pay you every month, no matter how little you have, 1%. So if you had 10 shares, let's say, that's $220. They'd pay you a couple bucks a month. So you could take that amount of money and either put that into a different stock to kind of spread your risk around, or you could just roll it right back into that stock. There's other similar stocks. These are all from the same companies. RYLD has a similar yield. They pay about the same type of yield. And those are pretty low risk stocks. If you look, let me see if I can pull up another window here. I'm going to pull up QILDs. And I know we're getting off on a tangent here. But if you pull up, let's see, here's the maximum amount if it'll load. I'm going to paste that into the chat window. I think I can do that. Or once it pulls up, we'll go to that on the main browser window. Okay, here we go. Let me copy that, And we'll go back to the main browser window, which I've lost on my desktop. Apologies for that. Oh, here we are. All right, so we're back. Like here's your risk on QYLD. We'll just pull it up. It's that. And we're gonna look at the maximum chart. There's a 5-year chart also. Let's look at 5 years. So basically this stock's been pretty even for the 5 years. This that you see here is COVID. So that would have been a great time to buy when it was $18.55. But you can see it kind of rises and falls, and they just keep paying the dividend. Let's see, QID, if you look at dividend history, roughly 20 something cents a month on $22. There's NASDAQ.com. I like that. QILD is, and they sell the NASDAQ, which is a broad, it's just a broad range of companies. And as you can see here, the dividend yields here, and like I said, it's give or take about 20 cents a month, just going back almost forever. Okay, it dipped a little bit, 17, excuse me, 25. Sometimes there's special dividends. You can look at this yourself. There's the website. We'll even make this easy, and see what QILD pays. There you go. So that's in the chat. You can just drop right in there and check that. Annual dividend $5.99. Dividend yield 28%. One reason is they paid this huge fat dividend in December, and I think I got a little bit. They paid 50 cents, which percentage-wise is huge. So that is one of these specific stocks I would look at. Again, not advice. So once you get to $2,000, you can do on your brokerage, you can apply for what's called a margin. Margin is just they will loan you a certain amount of money against the value of your stock. So I've got $2,000 worth of QILD. Let's say I can go to my brokerage and say, hey, you've got $2,200 worth of my stock. I need $500 put into my bank account. They're like, okay, be there in a few days. So once that happens, you've got $500 in cash, and they subtract $500 off the value of your account. And you can take that $500 and get that tire for your car, or that battery, or whatever that you need. Now you do pay a small amount of interest on that. I think right now typically it's 8 or 9%. It's not that much. It's way better than a credit card. It's probably I know it's way better than like payday loans and all that crap. You're basically loaning yourself money against the value of your own stock that you own, and it's just a bank. It's just a lot like a bank account. Like I literally pay credit cards and stuff out of my brokerage. I'm like, hey, ETrade, I need $1,800 sent to this account or whatever. And what happens is you can do, well, first of all, that interest rate, it's deductible off your taxes because they consider it an investment expense. Because you could be buying stocks with that or whatever. Again, not financial advice, not tax advice, but margin tax, as far as I understand it, is just deductible under every circumstances. I don't think they really care what you do the money with. It's considered, they don't break it down that much. No one's going to say, hey, would you do that? Did you buy a tire with it? I don't think that's even a thing that you have to report. I've never heard of that. So margin, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody in the comments, margin interest expense is just an expense that's tax deductible, and it's associated with your investments. So like any other business expense is deductible. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Not tax advice, not financial advice. So then one of two things happens. If your stock loses value, you might have to put some of the cash back in. You have to maintain 50%. So if you have $2,200 of stock, and the stock value drops, let's say it's dropped to $2,000, which we just look, QLD doesn't change that much. They may say, hey, you need to put in some more money so that we can maintain that 50% value. You borrowed $1,100, now your stock's only worth $2,000, which would give you $1,000 worth of credit. Like you need to put in $100. So don't do this if you need like a lot of money in the stock market. It's really volatile. We're going to talk a little more about like how you can get the cash to do this with. Maybe keep a little bit in reserve in cash, or if you're borrowing on margin, don't go over about 25% of the value of your account or something, so that if the stock value drops, you're still good. But since you're getting dividends, you can let those dividends pay back the amount that you owe, and just kind of let your account fill back up. Or if you've got cash and you're like, okay, I only needed that cash for a week, I got my paycheck, or I got money, whatever, put it back in. Get your account back to where you don't owe any on margin. So that's the way to look at that. I was going to say something else, but I forgot my train of thought. Yeah, that's what I can think of. So there's a couple ways to kind of handle that. Oh, I know what I was going to say. There's no payback time for margin. So unlike a loan or a credit card or whatever, I don't have to pay back margin. I could just let it sit there owing them $500 from now until the end of time. As long as that value of your stock is there to where you don't have to have what's called a margin call, where they say the value of your stock dropped with US money, you can just leave that $500 there. Now they're going to charge you interest on that. So it is going to accrue interest, but it's not terribly expensive like a credit card, and it is tax deductible. So if you don't have the money to pay that back, no big deal. You don't have to pay it back. You just have to make sure your stocks retain that value. Or you could let the dividends that you're getting on your stock, provided they're more than the cost of the interest rate, you could just let them fill your account back up. Which, if you're doing QILD and you take out 20% on margin, I think you're probably fine. I'm not even going to do the math on that. You're probably okay just letting the QILD dividends just fill that back up. And then once you get the dividends, you could buy more QILD with it and just kind of steamroll that. So that's how that works. Now here's a thought. There is a way right now to make 5% risk-free on savings accounts. And I'm going to mention that because if you wanted to get started with a brokerage, $2,000 right off the bat, and let's say you've got credit, you've got a good job, one thing I've done in the past is I've taken that 0% credit card offer that's to get you where you just write the check and you only pay 4% for the year. You could take that and put a chunk of that into QILD and then take $5,000, which is that you'll have 5 different savings accounts in the technique that I'm going to tell you about. That's making 5%. So I get these offers fairly often that are 4% for 18 months. So that tells me my cost per year is only about 2% in change, whatever that, 2.8% a year or whatever. I can put that in savings accounts and make 5%. And I can use that, some of the money, to buy QILD with, because you're going to make nice fat yields off of that. So at the end of that year and a half or whatever, you should have the money to pay that credit card back. And you've been making money on their money. It's not even your money. So that's called arbitrage. You take a difference in the interest rate or whatever you can make, and you keep that difference. And then again, if you still need the cash, you can go back and get the margin on it. And I know this may be kind of confusing, so bear with me and, ask specific questions, not financial advice. So that's pretty easy to do because we looked at the value of QILD and it didn't really change that much. And the other thing is, during that year and a half, while you're making these dividends and making that 5% on the savings, you could just take your own money that you make from whatever source and just slowly add that in as well, to where you've got enough to pay off the credit card in the year and a half, or most of it, pay off 95% of it or whatever, and just use the dividends and interest rate that you're making to pay that off. And so you can keep the cash either in the savings account and make that extra 2.8%, or put it in QILD and make the extra 8%, or whatever that works out to be, 6, 7, 8%, something like that. Arbitrage. You can look that up or ask me about it. Let's see. So final thoughts. What do we take? I think we talked about pretty much everything. So I'm just going to sit here and paste this stuff into the chat account. And I'm going to say that this seems complicated. It's really not. There's a lot of little tiny things that are very, very simple, that are not complicated at all. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I think I can put all these in the description. So I'm going to go ahead and give you maybe just some of my favorite ones. Of course, Robinhood. I mean, say what you will about Robinhood. They're easy, and if you're just doing, you know, adding a little bit of money here and there, just get the free stock. And then maybe use that as, you know, where you put in just tiny bits of money, like $1 here and there. There's another video on my channel that I actually bought $1.30 worth of Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway cost $300 and something thousand a share, and that's Berkshire A. Let's see what they cost. You can buy $1.30 worth on Robinhood. Berkshire A shares are $467,000 a share. But you can buy what's called a fractional share and own $1.30 worth of Berkshire Hathaway. Or Berkshire B, which honestly, with fractional shares, I don't see the point between the two of them. You just own a fractional of the other. Berkshire B is $311. Really taken a big jump lately. That stock's really jumped up here in about the last 40 days or whatever. It's gone from 280 to 311, about a 10% jump. I think what's happening in the market now is people are fleeing from these, you know, Peloton and all these super high valuation stocks that just tank one day to something like Berkshire Hathaway that has like a long history of value. I think people are starting to flee to value stocks. Like they're underrated. Like I noticed Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is not an exciting stock, but they've really surged lately. Let's see, since the end of November, they've gone from 53 to 60. It's like 14% in a couple months. They've really jumped up. That's my personal feeling as to what some of that is. Let's see. Okay, Webull. I like Webull because they're kind of a middle-of-the-road investor platform. They have a lot of really good tools, and take these with a grain of salt. I don't know if the $100 is necessary, but I think most people can scrape together $100, especially if you're doing all these free little accounts. Again, look at the description on this video, because that's where I'm going to put all this stuff. If you want to ask something specifically, put that in the comments and just, you know, paste what you want to know in there. Like, I want to know about this link or whatever. TastyWorks is one that's, I believe this is still $2,000. That's personally if you're going to get into options, which is pretty advanced. So it's not basic things. TastyWorks is good for options, but they will give you $200 if you deposit $2,000. So it's like 10% right off the bat. Let's see, whatever. Those are probably, I'm going to drop this one in here with kind of a caveat. This is Marsco. They're okay. The biggest thing about Marsco is their margin rate is only 1.99%. So you could say, I've got $2,000, but I want to buy $2,500 worth of stock. So that extra $500, you're only paying 2% to borrow it, but you're making 10 or 12% on QILD. So you're arbitraging. And 1.99% is super low. That's the lowest I've seen for margin. And they're, read the terms and conditions. There may be something weird about it. The only thing that kind of bugs me about them is they take a few days to withdraw money or whatever. I mean, 3 to 5 business days, not a long time. And then they ask you on the withdrawal, like, why are you withdrawing it? It's like, well, none of your business, but I got them because they gave me some free stock, and I just kind of stuck it there. I bought a few different stocks that pay dividends, and I'm just leaving them there and forgetting it, because $25 was my money, and 50 or whatever was there. So I'm like, all right, fine, just sit there and make money for me. Once every few months I'll be like, hey, give me my $8 or whatever. Those are probably my favorite. I use ETrade mostly for simple types of trades and options trades, and because different reasons I won't go into. It's my personal situation. And then if I'm going to do options, I do TastyWorks, which that's a whole different video about options and how to trade them and what I would do to consistently make money with them. And that's not, pie in the sky. It's the same thing with margin. And anyway, there's ways to bring in income with options that are risk-free. But don't buy call options thinking they're going to go to the moon. As soon as you buy a call option, it's like buying a brand new car. As soon as you buy a call option, it probably starts losing money. I'm going to say this about options. Something like 77% of options go unexercised. That means somebody bought that and didn't use it. 77% don't get used, or they lose money on. That's what happens. So you want to be selling them, but that again is a different video. You don't want to be playing games in Vegas. You want to be the house. That's how selling options works. I think that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this now. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, because I post stuff like this every now and then. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at RealActorRob. Oops, wrong screen. Cancel. Wrong screen. We'll go ahead and make it easy on you. I'm going to type in the full letter Twitter link. This is probably my most active account. I've got a couple of different accounts on Twitter just for various things. Like I have a fitness account, which is BeachFitRob. The reason I don't combine these is because I just do so many things. People like, is this the same guy? And it just kind of would muddy the message. Different people follow me on different accounts for different reasons. Like fitness and acting kind of go together, but Real Actor Rob has probably got most of my stock related stuff on that. And so if I had it on my fitness Twitter, people would be like, why are you telling me about stock stuff? Which arguably on my acting channel, why are you telling me about acting stuff? But that's a different thing. I will leave you with this. Let me pull this up. I just had a movie that came out, and to be honest, I don't know if it's any good or not, but I'm going to give you the link to it. I haven't watched it myself. I may be awful in it. I don't know. But I will give you the link to it. Let's see. Follow me on Twitter, because that's where you're probably gonna that's probably where you're gonna see most of my news. Whether I just wrote a short story, it's a free sci-fi short story that you can get on Barnes & Noble. Here's the website where the movie was released. And then look for this short story. Now we're really digressing. Sorry, I don't have a link for this. If you really want it, just leave a comment and I'll link to it. It's a test. If you don't comment on it and ask for it, I'm not going to do it. So anyway, now we're really out. Thanks for watching. Really hope this helps you. And I'm going to do one last little soapbox here. If you're in America, you've already won the world lottery just by being an American citizen. we've talked about tons of opportunities and ways to make money and get free crypto and get free stock, etc., etc. Make money while you sleep. That's the name of the game. If you're here living in America as an American citizen, you have won. You are in the top however many X%. And I don't know what your situation is, but there is still a lot of opportunity in this country. And I'm not going to go into my background, but I basically came from a relatively small, poor paper mill town in the South. You know, International Paper had a mill there, and that was pretty much the reason the town existed. Joined the military, got a degree, blah, blah, blah. The stuff I've done to get to the point that I've gotten to, I think is really doable by a lot of people. If you're willing to make sacrifices and put in some hard work and, you know, take advantage of easy opportunities like this. And the reason I've made this video is not just for me, is I just see so much negativity, and I think people just don't know this stuff, or don't, you know, want to do the small amount of work or something. I don't know. But anyway,